Stories are crisis averted. My name is Osadumebi, and every week I will tell you a short story written by a Nigerian writer or author. That's the long and short of it. So without much ado, this week's story is by Evidence Egwuono, and it's titled Lagos Palava. She knew. As soon as she unzipped her jacket pocket and slid her hand into it, she just knew. She heard voices snicker at her, voices only she could hear. Frank's playful warnings about village people and the evil they wrought flitted through her mind. She unzipped her bag, peered in, and didn't see it. Village people must have finally got my address, she thought. Typical for an afternoon in Lagos, the sun was blazing. Everything that moved was hot and bothered. Sometimes, one wondered if the sun had a personal vendetta against Lagosians. Hawkers selling sachet water filled the busy Ojuelegba bridge like grains of sand. It was one of those days people drank water like camels preparing for a voyage across the Sahara Desert. With buses stuck in never-ending Lagos traffic, hawkers selling all sorts swarmed the buses, force-feeding the vehicles and its passengers with their goods. The danfo she boarded was an inferno. Stifling any oxygen seeping into the bus through its tiny windows was an indestructible bond between body odor, bad breath, and what could only be silent but lethal farts from passengers. She felt choked. Worse still, she was sandwiched between a plump woman and a man who it seemed carried so bulky a creature between his legs that he sat with his legs wide apart, occupying more space than the width of his shoulders. At one point, she asked the plump woman to make space for her. The woman looked at her, picked her up with her eyes, and then threw her on the floor before asking, "And where do you want me to shift to?" Oh yeah, make una dey bring out una money and not fish shout. And not give me big money and not get change, yelled the bus conductor as he swung in from hanging outside the bus and wedged himself against the bus ceiling to start extracting fare from passengers. The torn white singlet he was wearing had turned ash from exhaust fumes, sweat, and many days, perhaps weeks, of being unwashed. He expectorated and paused briefly, considering whether to spit or swallow the phlegm he seemed to be rinsing his mouth with. He chose to swallow it. She had seen enough to be fazed by the man's act. Lagos conductors. She sometimes wondered if his ilk were humans or monkeys pretending to be humans. "Now 1,000 naira I get to," offered a grey-haired man from the front seat. The sour conductor howled at him. "Kilele, Baba. I tell you before you enter, say I no get change now." The passenger did not respond, which seemed to infuriate the conductor even more. "All these other people know the hear words, sef. Abi, Baba, you deaf? Now so dem go dey do like I want to. Later now, if I say make you come off for my bus, all this one go dey say person wicked." The passenger did not wait for more insults to be hurled at him. "Omo de. Is it me you are talking to in that manner? You uncouth hooligan with no smidgen of wisdom or speck of intelligence. It's not your fault. I blame the stupid mother that bettered you." The conductor had not seemed to understand a word the man said until he heard the word mother. Pandemonium broke out. The enraged man and the conductor lashed out at each other, their pitch and tempo rising with each exchange. Seeing an opportunity to release pent-up frustrations, other passengers joined in the tirade of abuse, cursing and invoking different gods to punish the driver, to punish the conductor, and to punish the bus itself, while blaming the country and its leaders for the hostility they were facing. Someone shouted, "Na NEPA kosam!" and the others took it up, including NEPA in their insults. The driver's appeal for everyone to calm down was not heard, or it was ignored. Either way, the verbal assault continued. 2 children, frightened by the ruckus, started crying, but their wailing was drowned out, and their mother seemed too engrossed in the heated argument to pay them heed. A man who was perched close to the entrance rose. He was draped in a white gown and a cap, and was holding what looked like a holy book. My fellow brothers and sisters, this is not the life prophet.
Ogbeni Ejoko, this place no be Lekeun.
The enraged conductor said, snatching the holy book and tossing it out the window.
And if you not keep quiet, now you go fling come out next. Nonsense.
The man in the white gown sat down without uttering another word. Ignoring the drama unfolding around her, she continued ransacking her bag. She brought out the contents: a notepad, a white handkerchief, a pink petite toilet bag where she kept her wipes, lipstick and powder, and another purse she was sure should have what she was looking for. She looked through each item to no avail, and then turned out the insides of her bag and flapped it gently. Pieces of paper drifted to the floor, but not what she was looking for. She knew her 5-year-old cousin would be responsible, but that did not matter now. She needed to find it, and she needed to find it quick. After minutes of chin-wagging, tit-sucking saliva exchange, the bus quietened down. The grey-haired man had stormed out of the bus without paying, still cursing the conductor's progenitors. When he alighted, he wiped his face with his hands and whistled happily away, as though nothing had happened. Goodness knows if he'd put up a show because he felt genuinely insulted, or because he didn't have the money to pay. Lagosians were great thespians. The other commuters, who had begun to have parched throats and croaked voices, unanimously decided there was no point in continuing another man's fight. Each one returned to their inner musings. It was only then that the mother of the terrified toddlers saw and began pacifying her children. As though passengers were deaf and talking at normal volume would be futile, the conductor resumed howling at each passenger as he collected his money.
Madam, your money na 300.
He barked at the plump woman beside her. Annoyance registered on her face. You told me 150, and that is what I will pay. Not 1 naira more. The conductor laughed boisterously, exposing his tobacco-stained teeth. Then facing the woman, he said,
Na me say make you fat like cow.
The woman clapped her hands and laughed derisively. Then she faced the conductor, ready to break his neck.
Hey. What did you just say to me?
Oriel da. It is your useless slatter mother that is as fat as a cow, Olori Buruku. I want to get down. I want to get down. No. I can't deal with this, your madness. I say I want to get down.
Madam, but you never pay me my money. Pay me my money.
Take your stupid money. She threw a tattered 200 naira note at him.
Let me get down.
The bus stopped, and the woman alighted, making sure to push the conductor off the bus with her buttocks. Still searching, she checked her bag for the umpteenth time to no avail. Her bus stop was within striking distance. More anxious than ever, she dug her hands into her pocket again, hoping for a miracle, and once again, the hole tickled her fingers, sending tingles up her hand, through her armpits, and breaking out even more beads of sweat to her forehead. Before leaving home in the morning, She had huddled naira notes into her jacket pocket to serve whatever costs would arise through the day. They were mostly smaller denominations, and they shouldn't have slipped away without her noticing. How could she not have noticed her pocket was torn? Eyes rested on her. She knew it was him.
Auntie, you never pay me my money.
The conductor spoke normally for the first time. The whole shouting saga must have tired him out, or so she thought. Yes, I know. I have not yet found my money, and I'm still searching for it, she said calmly, her eyes buried in her handbag. Perhaps he might empathize with me if I spoke calmly, she thought. She was wrong. His voice modulated back to combat frequency.
You dey find money? Hey, how do I want to concern me? If you know wetin dey good for you, you go find my money, bring her comot, otherwise.
She stood transfixed, gulping in the fresh air, the crisp harmattan breeze drying her sweat. The sun, which had threatened to roast Lagos alive, was now completely swallowed up by dark, pregnant clouds. It rarely rained during the harmattan season. This was new. She watched the Danfo disappear in the distance and let out an exaggerated exhale. Just before the conductor could unleash his venomous insults, she found the money, lying cozily where it sat. She could not have been happier. With disappointment registered on his face, the conductor snatched the money from her while giving her a look that unmistakably said,
"Now only God save you."
As she crossed to the other side of the road, she replayed the bus saga in her head. Grateful to have not been further, she smiled. She thought about narrating the experience to Frank, and her smile widened. She had once again escaped Lagos Palava, albeit by whiskers. Evidence Egwuono is a writer who resides in Lagos, Nigeria. She is currently studying English at the University of Lagos and works as a freelance writer. Besides reading and writing, she loves volunteering with NGOs, especially ones concerned with the educational welfare of indigent children. You can read more of her work on Medium at Evidence Egwuono and in the Kalahari Review. You can connect with her on Instagram at evidence_Egwuono and on X, formerly Twitter, at @egwuono. Details and links will be in the episode description. If you've got a story you would like to be featured on this podcast, or a published book you want to make into an audiobook, send an email to info@osademebi.com or send me a message at osademebi on either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or X, formerly Twitter. I look forward to collaborating with you. And if you have enjoyed this week's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend that stories are a good escape for a few minutes each week.